So we're going to do this one again, especially this time with audio. We didn't see anything too interesting in pre-market. Mostly chopped between first presented fair value gaps, nothing too interesting. We'll discuss the trade that I should have made, especially as 9:30 shows up. Alright, there we go. So the first thing we do is we reject the gap. Okay. And I'm thinking we're rejecting the gap. Honestly, I could have taken this trade. Could I have taken this trade? I wouldn't. It wouldn't be advisable. It was not an advisable trade, to be honest. This was not an advised trade. Okay, so what happened here? I got in to this trade on this candle because I tried to get in for the move too quickly. And now that I'm looking at it with my fib, I'm seeing this was just a retracement. This being a retracement at the 50% area, plus the rejection of the 25%, it could even print past 25%. Rejection plus the retracement at the 50 tells me this has to be bullish. That's what I should have done, but I was too busy looking for this. I should have had my fib handy. So maybe I need, no, I've got a shortcut here. This doesn't take long. So, rejection of the 50, okay. I would have needed it technically to get further down, which I was concerned about. Plus, there were a lot of reasons to be concerned. Okay. But now we know this was something to look for. Once I saw that this was bearish, I should have put my fib on because this was my new swing high and I could have had a swing low ready. So what I should have done was, even from 927, start trailing it. And even if I was off a little bit, it still would have been a decent rejection of the 50%. And honestly, if we check this out, let's see what happens here. What if we put on our 618, 786? It shouldn't get to 786, but boom, look at that. 618. It's a very strong entry here. This is an OTE if I ever saw one. All those confluences are ridiculous. This was definitely a bullish trade. All right, so I botched that. And then, as we know, it ran away without us. Wow, really taps the 618. That's picturesque. Okay. That's fine. I learned a lot today. While we're here, let's have it keep going because the reality is this ran away for about 140 points, 140 point Judas swing. Let's say that properly. And I saw. Okay, let's see. Okay, it kept going, create all-time highs. Yeah, I saw those 3 wicks, and then I saw the 4th one was a little bit lower, and I said, we're not making all-time highs anymore. I'm starting to think that this might be turning around, which could burn me, but I needed a little bit of confirmation. So I said, I think I saw either this candle, or this candle. And I said, all right, this one right here, I'm definitely feeling bearish. Put my stop in structure because it wasn't too much. 516. That's permissible for a short. Yeah. And then it just melted. Really. Created a fair value gap, which is worth the that is actually beautiful. So let's try this. What happens if we put this here? I think that's what happened. I got in here and I took it down to like the 50%. But I did this on paper because I wasn't sure if it was going to keep going up. The reality is I could have taken it to here, this first presented fair value gap, and seen what happened. But the recognition of 2 consecutive bearish breakaway gaps is definitely a sign that, well, there's a very good chance we're staying bearish. We'd have to invalidate both of these, which would mean that in order for it to invalidate both of these, it would need significant liquidity in order to run that. So I'm thinking bearish. And what's next? See, we rejected. We rejected. We're looking at the gap. We've got eyes on the gap. Since we have eyes on the gap, come back. We come back. I think we did come back up here and reject that bearish area again. We couldn't even make it this time. Melt right down to the first presented fair value gaps and then right through them. This was a great trade if you could have gotten in at a reasonable time, especially, honestly, if we were to put on a new fib and we take this from here to here. We see this was a perfect entry right here. Rejection of the 50%. And we've got ourselves a fair value gap entry. This is ideal right here for your entry. You never get taken out again. And then if you can't get in here off a candle structure, you get in safely here, or then you get in here off the rejection of the breakaway gap, get in here off the next rejection of the breakaway gap, take this all the way down to this area of your stacked first presented fair value gaps from prior sessions. Rejection, can't print outside the gap, but then you do. And then you just keep going down, I think. Maybe. Probably. Or not, you could just chop inside the box, that's also an option. And then you just come back up, reject this breakaway gap again, keep going back down, come back up for air, maybe reject the breakaway gap again. Hopefully you're in the trade from a reasonable area if you didn't get out already. But honestly, if I were in here, I would have felt comfortable staying. I might have been concerned, but I did want to see it come back down here, to be honest. I really wanted to see it even touch Asia low. That would have been an ideal situation for me. At this point, I don't know where my draw on liquidity is if it's not down here. Because it's not good. I don't think it's going to be all-time highs. I would have been concerned for a while, especially with these higher lows and no interest in coming back down. But I guess we'd have to see what the PM session has to offer, because this is lunch. So I'll speed this up a little bit. Actually, I'll speed this up a little bit. Okay, coming into end of lunch, looking for that PM session first presented for value gap. Okay, and there you go, coming back down. Creation of a breakaway gap inside of the opening range gap definitely indicates to me, obviously, that it's a prime area for rejection to the downside. We create an NY PM first presented fair value gap stacked on top of your Sydney, which is good to know. Hopefully looking for that to get rejected to the downside, at least to grab Asia low ideally, but not sure if we can make it there directly. It has to get past Tokyo, which it rejects, comes back up, creates higher highs, concerning. Have to go all the way up to NYAM, first presented to come back down. Maybe then you have the strength to get down to Tokyo, to print past Tokyo. Okay. Let's see. Honestly, I don't have any real trades here aside from scalps. Maybe this rejection here, this could have been an indicator to me. Didn't really have any interest in coming back. Maybe come in here. But then you have to take this and you have to get out as it starts turning around. Don't have any real trades. Excuse me. Honestly, there were no afternoon trades for real for me. No areas. Now it's 4 o'clock. Maybe you scalp it from the rejection of this area up to here. But I don't feel very confident about doing that. This is relatively bullish in the afternoon. Maybe if you can get in at a reasonable area, but then you're holding this trade for almost 2 hours, hoping. And honestly, I wanted to see it go down anyway, so I didn't have a real trade. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, creating higher lows. Maybe you take this. I would have looked for a sweep, to be honest, but we didn't have anything like that. I mean, if you could take it, then it's a pretty decent trade up to the rejection, because it did reject several times. So yeah, I don't know. I have to do more research there, or a different strategy, something. I don't know. That's all for Friday.